Very much, Chair. Minister, as you know, the United States has been wreaking havoc across the Middle East for decades. I think it's taken a new departure with Donald Trump at the helm and his decision last week to drop 59 Tomahawk missiles on a Syrian airbase. We know that the US media responded by saying, "I think Donald Trump has become President of the United States" last night, people describing it as doing the right thing, the missile strikes as beautiful. Odds on, Minister, that Donald Trump is going to escalate such military action and presumably use Shannon to further his aims. Isn't it time we had a review of such an appalling blight on our supposedly neutral stance?
Thank you very much for your cooperation, Deputy Minister. Go on, no man.
Successive governments have made landing facilities available at Shannon Airport to the United States for well over 50 years now. These arrangements are governed by strict conditions, including that the aircraft must be unarmed, that the aircraft must carry no arms, that the aircraft must carry no ammunition, that the aircraft must carry no explosives, and that they do not engage in intelligence gathering, and that flights concerned do not form part of military exercises or operations. These conditions apply equally to military aircraft from all countries seeking to land at Shannon. The US, as with all other states, is required to provide my department with confirmation in writing that the aircraft proposing to land in Shannon complies with the strict conditions as set out above. Arrangements for the regulation of activity by foreign military aircraft are kept under ongoing review. In line with this, my department ensures that detailed and robust procedures are in place to ensure that all relevant parties are fully aware of the requirements relating to applicants and applications for permission for foreign military aircraft to overfly or land in the state.
Thank you very much, Minister. Deputy, 1 minute.
Stock reply that we've been listening to for the past 6 years, that the answer to the actual question is no, you're not prepared to carry out a review of Shannon Airport by the US military. And you might consider the fact that recently US airstrikes have claimed the lives of 200 civilians in Iraq. Dozens were killed in separate strikes supposedly aimed at ISIS, women and children killed in Yemen. The United States has launched more airstrikes in Yemen in a single month in March of this year than all of last year, not to mention the Saudi crimes in that area. And in all of these campaigns, Ireland is facilitating by allowing the US military on its route to those areas to land in Shannon. We know that not only that, but we've had an expansion of the areas of active hostilities, as the US call it, in Somalia and so on. We know that drone strikes, which had reached a record under Obama at 1 every 4.5 days, has now actually gone to a drone strike once in every 1.8 days under Trump. Minister, we're facilitating this, and the time for a review is long overdue.
Deputy Wallace, you want to make it brief?
Yeah, thanks, Minister. You've probably seen where there was an attempted attack on the Borussia Dortmund bus last night in Germany, and God knows what the motives were. But the notion, Minister, given that obviously we couldn't believe the time of day of any US president in our memory, but given that Trump is such a reckless loose cannon, how in God's name can you tell us that it's okay for us to let military planes through, that there's no arms and munitions because they say so? Would you consider, Minister, searching these planes so that we can assure the international community that under no circumstances are we allowing arms or munitions through on military planes? Because, Minister, as we said before, these planes are not travelling all halfway around the world to play golf.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister.
Well, the Deputy will be aware that prior permission is required for all foreign military aircraft to land at Irish airports, and permission, if granted, is subject to strict conditions, which I have already outlined. Indeed, bilateral relations between friendly nations are founded on the matter of mutual trust. Both parties have an interest in maintaining that trust. Details provided by diplomatic missions, including confirmation that aircraft are unarmed, carry no arms, ammunition or explosives, are therefore accepted in good faith as being accurate. Could I return to Deputy Daly's comment? Again, she will be aware from previous encounters in this House and indeed outside this House, arrangements for the regulation of activity by foreign military aircraft are kept under ongoing review. In line with this, as I have already stated, my department ensures that detailed and robust procedures are in place to ensure that all relevant parties are fully aware of the requirements relating to applications for permission for foreign military aircraft to overfly or land in the state. Can I say that ministers are answerable to this Dáil, respond to numerous parliamentary questions on this issue, on the matter of landings, of overflights, and indeed military aircraft at Irish aircrafts and military aircraft over Irish airspace. Arrangements at Shannon were the subject of a specific inquiry by the Joint Committee on Public Service Oversight and Petitions. I understand that Deputy Wallace is part of that committee. I met with the committee myself prior to its completing its report. The committee also heard evidence from the then Minister for Transport, Tourism and Sport and from the Secretary-General of my department.
Thank you very much. Now we're brief on time, so Deputy.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder, Minister, you're going for the job of Garda Commissioner because your answers don't really match the reality. And I wonder, could you tell us what you think all those aircraft are actually doing? It's not an inexpensive task to move these aircraft from one corner of the globe to the other. They're landing in Ireland roughly twice a day. What do you think they're doing, seeing as they're not at all involved in any military activity whatsoever, even though they are military aircraft? And I'd remind you, the US website Politico said this week, like Middle East wars, you're going to love President Trump. And that's what we have here. We see ships assembling at North Korea, ratcheting up of the situation in Iran, Somalia being involved, Yemen and so on, and Ireland sitting in the middle of it. Minister, it is long past a review. We've been asking these questions for 6 years and getting non-answers, but the world situation is deteriorating and Ireland's in the middle of it.
Thank you, Deputy. Now, do you want to make a very brief reply? Very brief, because our time is up.
Chair, I don't accept what the Deputy has said, and indeed, lest there be any doubt, let me say that I was horrified to learn of the apparent chemical attack in Syria last week. That attack was simply barbaric. My thoughts continue to be with the victims and their families. I condemn unreservedly the attack and indeed those responsible. The attack further underlines the need for accountability and indeed a genuine political transition in Syria. This is an international priority for Ireland, and it's an issue that continues to be raised in the context of EU foreign ministers' meetings, the latest of which took place in Luxembourg last week, in which I attended and indeed participated.